cinéfilos aún echan de menos a la doctora Cady, aquel personaje interpretado por Lisa Edelstein en la serie House. Vamos a ponernos al día con la actriz a ver qué ha sido de su carrera después de abandonar aquella mítica serie de médicos. I know this has been a while, but letting go of that character of Dr. Lisa Cady was difficult, or you were ready, like?
Was I ready? I mean, it was very sudden, walking away from the house, walking away from the show. So no, I wasn't really ready, but it was fine. It was just very sad. I was very, very sad about the whole thing. At the same time, when you play a character for that long, you know, somewhere around season 6, you're like, oh, I get it. I get why people are ready to move on. I mean, there's a feeling like, even though you're in the most wonderful job, you're making good money, you're stable, which is very unusual for an actor. So there's sort of a mixed thing. And then the issue becomes not doing the same job again, because everybody wants to offer you the same job after you finish a job. They've got 5 different versions of that character waiting for you in the wings, and I didn't want to do that. So it took me a few years to start finding projects that sounded interesting to me. Not the short-term stuff, but the long-term stuff, the serious stuff.
So it was difficult to move on later and find a role?
It was not emotionally difficult. It's always the way it is. Whenever you do a job, if you do it well, you will always be offered that job again, because it's how people see you when you're done with that job. And so as an actor, you have to constantly redefine yourself. And it's just part of the deal. It was no harder than any of the other times when I played a transgendered person on Ally McBeal, you wouldn't believe how many offers I got for transgendered people on other shows. Who knew there were that many characters? Nowadays, it would be wildly offensive for me to play those parts, but at the time, that was not something we understood. And that it's just all through. When I started off, I did a few sitcoms, and then people just thought that's all I did was sitcoms. And I did drama, and people thought all I did was drama. And so you're constantly redefining yourself.
And now
you make peace with it.
And now how is with Abby? Because you have to commit with her like for 3 seasons.
More.
All of a sudden, like you got 3. How does that feel?
Well, it's a little different than it would normally be, because in this case, we're doing 3 sort of rapid-fire seasons. They're calling them chapters. So they're shorter seasons, and they're going to air more rapidly. So it's really a few years, it's not 3 years. It's probably 2 years to air and a year to shoot straight through. We're not going to stop. We're not going to go on hiatus.
How is your character? How is Abby? What is the thing that makes her special and you thought, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to commit to this character?
Well, the writing's very good. The writing was very good in the pilot. I love Marty. So that was part of why I wanted to do this part. Secondly, telling the story of a woman my age that's a sexy dramedy is something that was unheard of when I started in this business. So that was very exciting. And we don't back away from that. It's really a great thing to have that out there in the world. And it's great for young women, because you get to see the story continues, and you get reflected the future of your own womanhood. So there's that. Abby as a character is fun to play, because the show really goes from really funny, goofy stuff to incredibly deep, heartfelt drama. And as an actor, that's really exciting, because I get to express myself much more than I've ever been given the opportunity to do. Being the lead of a show is really exciting, to have that responsibility and to work that. I love to work hard at this because I love what I do. And as a person, Abby she's this very successful woman who seemingly has it all together, has a certain amount of power in her own life as a woman, but is also a total girl and a little bit of an idiot about certain things that she has less experience at. And that mostly being dating and understanding what it's like to be out there in the world, because she had been married to her husband. They had been together since college. So she's making some of the mistakes that I made when I was much younger. which is much worse when you make them in your 40s than it is when you make them in your 20s. It's sort of expected in your 20s. In your 40s, it's a disaster. I just love it. It's super fun.
And you were saying that your part is unusual in this business, and now there is this conversation, this really important conversation about the roles of female actresses in Hollywood. Do you think there's still so much work to do with that, or?
I mean, we're a long way. We're a long way from finished, but it's starting. It's definitely changing. Look, I don't think I personally changed the business. I think the business changed enough for me to have this job, and that means it is changing. And the more that happens, and the more that happens successfully, the more it will continue happening, because ultimately it's a business. It's just about money. You know, ultimately our shows are what plays between the commercials, or if you're on Amazon, what gets you on Amazon to buy toilet paper. You know, it's commerce. That's the sad truth of it. It's art and commerce.
So it's still working on
it. If it's going to work, if it's going to make money, if people are noticing and enjoying the shows, then it's going to continue. So we have to support the shows.
Abby shows a lot of skin in the show.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with that? How do you deal with that?
Okay, well, first of all, season 1, I got lucky because episode 3 came around and I had literally just gotten married. What time in your life are you skinnier than when you get married? I can't think of any. And I'd gotten the flu. So between getting married and having the flu, I was ready for that scene. But season 2, it was a little bit different, and at this point, I just turned 50. At this point, it's like, if you want to film it, I already won. I'm good. I got what I got. I'm in decent shape. There's wonderful lighting. There's makeup. There's a DP that's taking care of me. It's a television show that they're not interested in showing anything that they don't think sells cars. So I'm pretty well protected. But at the same time, I'm naked in a room full of mostly crew people. Yeah, mostly men. But those guys, I've been working with them now for several years, and they're so loving and protective and sweet. We have a very sweet group of people.
What would you like to do with your character? Is there something that you feel that you have to tell with Abby?
It's an interesting journey. I think that we had Abby hurled into a new and unfamiliar world in season 1. In season 2, we had her pretend everything was fine despite the fact that it really, really wasn't, and have her fall apart. I think in season 3, it's really going to be about seasons 3, 4, and 5 are different chapters of sort of genuine self-discovery and the creation of a new life for herself. So we'll see. I'm eager to see what Marty comes up with.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.